Today's case is one that shook an entire community, not just because of how brutal it was, but because of who investigators believe was responsible and why. This is the story of Spencer and Monique Tepe, a young married couple, 2 small children, and a crime police would later describe as a targeted domestic violence-related attack. But here's the thing, even now there's one big question that still doesn't have a clear answer. What was the motive? Spencer Tepe was 37 years old. He was a dentist in Columbus, Ohio, known as kind, dedicated, and deeply involved in his community. Friends describe him as a family man through and through. Monique Tepe was 39. She was described by those closest to her as warm, joyful, and fiercely devoted to her children. The two were married in 2020 and lived together in the Wineland Park neighborhood of Columbus with their 2 very young children. One just 4 years old, the other barely a toddler. From the outside, it looked like a normal, happy life. But in late December 2025, that life was violently taken. On December 30th, 2025, police were called to the Tepe home to perform a welfare check. The call was made by Spencer's coworker because he did not show up for work, which was very unusual. When Spencer's coworkers had come to the house, they couldn't reach either of the couple's phones, and they could hear the children crying inside, but they couldn't get in. When officers went inside, they made a devastating discovery. Both Spencer and Monique had been shot to death inside their home. Their children were physically unharmed, but now without parents. Police quickly noticed something chilling. There were no signs of forced entry. Nothing appeared to be stolen, and the attack appeared focused and deliberate. This wasn't random. This was personal. As investigators worked the scene, surveillance footage from nearby cameras became critical. Video showed a person walking near the home around the time of the murders, dressed in dark clothing, moving with purpose. Police released the footage publicly and asked for help identifying the individual. Behind the scenes, though, investigators were already zeroing in on someone with a direct connection to Monique, her ex-husband. Monique was briefly married to Michael David McKee, a vascular surgeon, a few years earlier. The couple had wed in 2015 and divorced in 2017. But the filings revealed that the former couple lived together for only 7 months of that marriage, separating in March 2016. According to the divorce petition, Monique claimed the two were incompatible. Authorities arrested McKee on January 10th after they were able to track a suspicious vehicle in the neighborhood and link it to him. According to the police, they discovered evidence that McKee was in possession of the vehicle prior to and after the homicides. Police also recovered firearms and linked evidence they believe ties him directly to the crime. At the time of his arrest, McKee was living out of state. Prosecutors allege he traveled deliberately to Columbus and carried out the killings before leaving again. A grand jury would later indict him on multiple charges, including aggravated murder, aggravated burglary, and firearm specifications, suggesting premeditation. This is where the case becomes unsettling, because law enforcement has not publicly named a definitive motive, and that's unusual, especially in a case this high profile. What police have said is this: the murders were targeted, and they were domestic violence related. Family members of Monique have since spoken publicly, saying she had expressed fear of her ex-husband in the past and described emotional abuse during their marriage. But there's no publicly confirmed restraining order, no ongoing custody battle, no financial dispute that's been named, and the divorce happened nearly a decade earlier. So investigators and prosecutors are being careful, because motive doesn't always come with paperwork. Here's something important to understand. In court, prosecutors don't have to prove motive. They only have to prove intent and action. And that may be why we haven't heard a clear explanation yet. It's possible the motive will only come out at trial, through text messages, digital evidence, or testimony that hasn't been made public, or it may never fully make sense at all. Today, Spencer and Monique's children are being cared for by family. Their loved ones have asked for privacy, but they've also been clear about one thing. This case is about more than a crime. It's about the hidden, long-lasting impact of domestic violence, even years after a relationship ends. This case is a reminder that danger doesn't always look obvious. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's buried in the past, and sometimes it shows up when no one expects it. As this case moves through the court system, we'll likely learn more, but for now, the question of why remains hauntingly unanswered. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, resources are available and help is out there. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more true crime stories. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe,